Hey guys, week three, discussion one. This video, we're going to be discussing tools or strategies that we can use to uh, help students with their syntax, vocabulary somewhat. Um, in this method, I know that sometimes some of these methods are a lot better for younger students or for students that it seems a little elementary, so to speak. But I know for myself, even in college classes, it can sometimes create an element of fun. So for my 11th and 12th grade social science or history, ideally AP, the primary for vocabulary syntax, I've always really been a fan of like a Jeopardy type of way to kind of introduce vocabulary syntax, especially in a lot of the lessons that I've been talking about where students have to get into the English language of the time as part of the immersion. So to have, the rows of Jeopardy and have them compete with each other makes it a lot of fun. That way they can learn vocabulary, and then once they correctly guess it, it will be like within a sentence. So they can see and become familiar with the changes to grammar, the changes to spelling, the changes to vocabulary that the people of the time used. The next that I would have is analyzing primary and secondary sources, and then asking some follow ups, having them write sentences in a way similar. What's your summary of this article? What's your summary of this letter that somebody wrote? And you have to write it in that same type of language. So it gets people familiar with that, gets my students thinking in the same way or thinking in the same syntax as the people who lived during that time. And then lastly, I would say writing at length, whether it be letters to each other or their formal paper, um, in that mode as a sort of midterm or final or whatever it might be, is a good way to have students really immerse themselves in the syntax, the um, grammar, the spelling of the time. And I think this would be one of my primary tools in order to get students to really digest that sort of information and become familiar with it. Um, the thing that I will say is students who struggle with this a little bit might benefit a lot more from the first and second, whereas the third, although I'm not going to be as harsh, if somebody uses some slang or some grammar, I'll certainly circle it so they can be aware of it. So I would love to hear your guys' feedback, what you guys think might work or might not work, and we'll adjust that accordingly. So thank you so much in advance for that.